Representative Ryan Wilcox, and House Bill 251 is about electronic data protection, essentially warrant modifications or prohibition for reverse location and reverse keyword searches. It's a continually morphing thing, this piece of legislation. If I were to tell you what it did 2 months ago and what it does today, those are very different things. Essentially, though, the purpose of the bill is to make sure that we define what that line is between a proper, appropriate warrant and a warrant that really casts a net that includes everyone and everything that is not the subject of the warrant. Yeah, reverse search warrant essentially is a warrant where you don't necessarily know what the target is. Meaning, if it's a reverse location warrant, for example, you're really just seeking a warrant for a specific location. So anyone that is in that particular location is potentially now the subject of the warrant, whether or not there's probable cause to search that person. Because there isn't probable cause. And so that's one of those things that's it's a little bit difficult. If you have really solid actors on the law enforcement side or on the government side, then there isn't a lot to worry about. Meaning, they don't go willy-nilly and get these things. When you don't, and I'm going to be very clear right now, we don't have any indication that this has been used improperly in the state of Utah. We certainly have cases outside of the state of Utah where that has been the case, and so we're trying to get ahead of this a little bit here just to make sure that those parameters are defined so that when we get one of those reverse location or reverse word search warrants, that we have probable cause and we have those parameters in place. Well, I spent about 15 years in telecom. Right, and one of the last bills that I worked on my first time around was a prohibition on a technology called Stingrays, and this is probably the last time Nichelle interviewed me for anything, back in 2014. And that one is a very similar issue in that at the time, law enforcement or the government in general had the ability to collect all of our information. So say there's a warrant on Nichelle here, which of course wouldn't be the case, but if it were, the government had the ability to park a truck, a temporary tower, for lack of a better word, outside the Capitol. And it would immediately collect, because there was a valid warrant, we immediately collect all of our information in order to collect hers. There was no way to distinguish that. And so just like we did in that case, where it really isn't appropriate to go through all of our information for those of us that we don't have a warrant associated with our papers and effects, our digital papers and effects in our phones today, right now, we're just working to make sure we draw those lines in a clear way, as clearly as we can, to make sure that there is probable cause when those are granted.